May 20th, 1999 would be a day that would change Adelaide, Australia, and the world forever. That would be the day that in a small town right outside of Adelaide called Snowtown, there would be bodies in the barrels. Hello, my spooky friends, and how are you today? I hope you are doing absolutely fantastic. My name is Erica, and welcome to the Crocheted Caution Tape, where we talk all true crime, dark history, mysteries, and all things spooky while working on our crochet projects. And today we are going to be discussing Snowtown, Australia. So, before we get into it, I would like to say a few things, little updates. So, one is we are working on several new VooDoo dolls, and I am planning on doing a lot of various types of them because I am planning on launching a shop on September 21st. I'm hoping that I will be able to get everything done and everything ready to go to launch this shop in a little over a month. And so I am working on a fried voodoo doll. There. So gonna be working on this today. We've already got the head and the body made. We're just working on the legs and arms. So, a little trigger warning. This episode discusses everything. Everything. This story has it in it. So all of the trigger warnings. This myself was the first time that while researching a story, I actually had to take a break from researching because it's just so much. It's very, very dark. Okay? You're forewarned. Now, so oh, the stitch that I am working on to do to make these is a split single crochet. So it's like a single crochet, but instead of going through the stitch, you're splitting the stitch. Okay. So, where am I at? There I am. Okay. May 20th, 1999. Adelaide, Australia. Police task force arrived at an abandoned bank in Snowtown. They have been investigating a missing persons report on lead for looking for Elizabeth Hayden. Her brother had reported her missing 6 months prior, and they got a lead that took them to Snowtown. So, everybody in this story They are all connected somehow, some way. So, I have made uh, as you will come to know as a spider board of connecting everybody within this group. And I will show it somewhere up here. And so, like I said, I will be referencing my notes because I want to make sure that I get everything in the right order for this. So, Superintendent Paul Schramm told the reporters on May 21st, 1999, because of the advanced state of decomposition, it was only possible to make a cursory inspection. It will not be possible to accurately discern how many bodies are there until exhaustive forensic testing has been completed. So, inside these barrels that they found in the vault of an abandoned bank in Snowtown, they found 8 decomposing bodies in acid. Some of them were almost 2 years old, some of them were more recent, and the way that they were able to tell how many different people there were in these barrels was by counting their feet and their toes. That was how they were able to tell how many people there were. Soon after this, police arrived and arrested John Guston Bunting, Robert Joe Wagner, and Mark Ray Hayden. They had been under surveillance for a little bit in suspicion of a lot of the people that have gone missing over the past few years were all somehow connected to them. They didn't know how they were connected. They didn't know what had happened. They just thought it was odd that all these people that are connected to them are coming up missing. At the same time as the vault was under investigation, on May 23rd, 1999, a body was uncovered in the backyard of the New Salisbury North Public Housing, where Bunting had once lived. 3 days later, another body was found. Soon after that is when a James Spiriton Lasakis was picked up, arrested, and charged with murder of a cold case and a suspected taking of one's own life was reopened for investigation. So we have John Bunting, Robert Wagner, Mark Hayden, and James Vlasakis. These 4 guys. Alright. these four guys would get into some. So between the years of 1992 and 1999, they were 11 there were 11 people that had been unalived by Bunting, Wagner, Hayden, and Vlasakis. Most of them were tortured before being unalived. They made them record video, voice recordings to send to family to tell them that they were okay, and they just like left for some reason. And so, as we said earlier, they were under suspicion because of their connection to all of the missing people over the past few years. Most of these people were friends and family of the 11 that they had unalived. All of them were friends or family. Their reasoning? Why were they going around just, unaliving all of these people? Well, it was like some kind of twisted, like, type of vigilantism because of a philia, and we will be referring to this as what will soon be revealed as um, rock spiders. Okay, so they shared similar experience of SA, and so they wanted kind of like a Dexter kind of vibe, kind of. They were, in their minds, they were absolutely right to do what they did. What did they do? How did they do this? Oh my goodness, this is going to be so crazy. So crazy. Alright. So Bunting would collect information on those suspected rock spiders on a spider wall of post-it notes that were connected in pink and red string. They were all connected. Yeah. So the people that they had information on were people that they had deemed that were dirty. Believed that they were rock spiders. Now, in their minds, they did not distinguish between rock spiders and those part of the LGBTQI plus community. They saw them both as the same. There was no distinction between the two. So, Bunting, Wagner, Hayden, and Vlasakis, they cashed in on the property and the welfare payments that they received from those that they had unalived. Alright, now this is where things start to get, let's see. Okay, you cannot see what I am doing with this yarn at all. I am so sorry. Man, like, dark purple and black right now. I'm sorry. Okay. So, victim number 1 was Clinton Trezise in August of 1992. He was 22 years old. He was unalived at Bunting's home in North. Trezise was unalived in Bunting's home in Salisbury. The body would be found 2 years later in a shallow grave in Lower Light, which is a town that's right outside of Salisbury. He was the first victim of the Snowtown murders. And Clinton Trezise, he was in a relationship with Vanessa Lane, who was in a relationship with Wagner. So, Wagner was in a relationship with Vanessa or Barry Lane, and Vanessa Lane was also in a relationship with Trezise. Told you. It's messy. Okay. The second victim was Ray Davies, who was 26. Ray lived in a caravan on Suzanne Allen's property. Suzanne Allen had been in a relationship with Bunting at some point. And Ray was intellectually disabled. And at some point, Suzanne had gone to Bunting to tell her that she suspected Davies of SAing her grandchildren. Now, Bunting had the history with that, and he did not think that there would be justice for her grandchildren. So he went and talked to Wagner, and they unalived Davies. Davies' body was one of the ones that were found in Bunting's old property backyard. Okay. The third victim, it was never determined for sure 100% if they were responsible for the next victim. They was that of Suzanne Allen, who was an ex-girlfriend of Bunting. She was not considered one of the 11, would make it one of the 12, because the jury could not come up with a ruling that they didn't feel like there was enough proof to say that they had murdered her, unalived her. But her remains were found in Bunting's backyard. So they tried to say that she He had had a heart attack, and um, that she had had a heart attack, and that is what had unalived her. They said that they dismembered her uh, to hide her. So she had a heart attack, and their first thought wasn't to call for an ambulance. Their first thought was, we're going to dismember her and bury her in our backyard. Just gonna bury her in our backyard, and yeah, that the jury could not. They could not come to a verdict, which doesn't make sense to me because they actively said that they had dismembered her. I told you, it's a messy one. Victim number 4 was Michael or Michelle Gardner, 19 years old. Now, she was last seen alive in September of 1997. She lived with Wagner's wife, because apparently he has a wife while he is in a relationship with Lane. But Wagner's wife, her cousin, the Dorita, Scott Wagner, Wagner's wife, Wagner's wife's cousin, Zorita, and Michelle Michael were living with them. Okay. She was a transgender woman, so she was a woman. She was very open about her lifestyle. She was who she was, and she was proud of it. So happy that she didn't hide who she was. And they didn't like her. So that was one of their prejudices. They did not like her. So one day, Wagner saw Michelle out playing with some of his relatives' children, and he said that she had grabbed one of the children and placed her hand over the child's. This, obviously, as it would if anybody had seen that, would really make somebody mad. Whether or not that actually happened is another story, but that is what Wagner says. So, Wagner and Bunting took Michelle to Murray Bridge to unalive her. They staged a robbery at Miss Sarita's and Michelle's. They stole some of Miss Sarita's things to convince her that Michelle had stolen those items to pay for a gender affirming surgery. Make it make sense? Okay. Now, Gardner's body was one of those found in a barrel at Snowtown. It had been kept inside of a barrel, inside of a shed in Bunting's property before it was later moved to the vault in Snowtown. victim number 5. Okay, before we go on to victim number 5, I know you can't see what it is, so this is what we're working on. It's one of the feet. I think we may be about done with it. Hang on, let me count. Mercy. Stop. Alright, so we got a few more rows left on this before we are finished with this. Also, this voodoo doll that I am making is one that This voodoo doll is one that I have designed. I am actively writing down the pattern and I'm going to work on that, perfect it, so that I can make it available for anybody who wants it. Okay. So victim number 5 was Vanessa or Barry Lane. We'll just refer to her as Lane. Alright. So Lane was Wagner's ex-partner. She had lived with Wagner whenever Bunting met them. And at the time that Bunting had met Wagner, at the time that Bunting met Wagner, he had known that Lane was openly a transgender woman. The only reason why Bunting was okay with this whole situation, because Lane was also widely thought of as being a rock spider as well. So 2 things right off the bat that Bunting does not like up into one. And the reason why Bunting was okay with their situation at first was because Lane would give him information on other rock spiders. So it was for a reason. Her existence was benefiting him at this time. However, October of 1997, that would change. So who was Lane? She was a transgender woman that was in a relationship with Wagner, and she had been accused of S.A., a local boy, her and Wagner's. So Lane was accused of S.A. by a local boy. And due to this, her and Wagner's house was fired upon. When this happened, that was the last straw. Bunting couldn't take any more from her. And he accused her. No. Bunting had threatened her and told her to never go around there again. And that was when Wagner left her. So Lane engaged a woman with several children and moved to Hectorville. At the same time as this, Lane was also in a relationship with Thomas Trevelyan. And Trevelyan moved in with Lane in April of 1997. Okay. Lane had been there and helped Bunting and Wagner. Lane had been there whenever, after Bunting and Wagner had unallied Trezise, and she was forced to help them dispose of the body in lower light. Now, this, as it would just about anybody, traumatized her. She she couldn't stop thinking about what they had done, what she had done, what she had been part of. So she went to her mom and told her mom everything that had happened. Elena told her mom and Bunting's ex, who was not his ex at the time, and the ex asked Bunting about it. Like, hey, she just told us this. Is this true? Did you really do this? Did you really do this? And Bunting admitted they were true. But Bunting now knew that Lane was going around and talking about what had happened. So that's already like, ugh, she's risky. She's risky. Then sometime later, Thomas Trevelyan had told Bunting that Lane had essayed him. And again, it's just the straw that broke the camel's back with him. Alright? So, at this time, Bunting is thinking that Lane is going around telling everybody about what had happened, what they had done, and then he finds out that she is SAing another kid, another guy at that. And so he's just like, it's only a matter of time. She's doing all this. There's only a matter of time before she goes to the police and tells them. So on October 17th, 1997, Bunting, Wagner, and Trevelyan picked Lane up. Early the next morning, Lane's ma got a call from her. Bunting had, this is the start of, so the next morning, Lane's ma gotten a phone call from Lane. So Bunting had her call and make a recording of telling her that everything was okay. She was fine. She's never coming back again. Telling her she's going back in underground and that she's moving to Queensland and didn't want anything to do with her. Just a snap. So, so after they had done this, they had took Lane back to her fiance's house where they would further torture her. They just tortured her to get the account numbers to her bank, and it was just, they wanted everything. They wanted her passwords, her bank account information, and her car, and her welfare payments. Part of this torture to get this information was crushing her toes with pliers to get this information. Like before, Lane's body was kept in a barrel in a shed in Bunting's property. The police actually do investigate Lane's disappearance, right? Because her welfare payments are still being cashed and everything, and they're like, but she's gone, they can't find her, and so they're working on this. They formed a task force to investigate all of this, and they're working on it, but they're working very slowly to get to where they need to get. So They are investigating Lane's disappearance. All right. They noticed that there were welfare checks were being cashed at the same ATM every week. So they get video surveillance from a shop nearby that would later find that it was Wagner who was cashing her welfare checks. Wagner's linked to Bunting. They was both of them under surveillance. And Lane's body was found in the same barrel as Gardner. I told you guys it's a lot. It's so much. Okay. Let's all right. We'll talk about one more today, and then we're gonna make another part because I know that this is a lot. This is a lot of information. This is a lot of brutality. This is a lot. So we'll cover one more victim, and then we'll make another part later. Okay. Okay. So victim number 6, Thomas Trevelyan, 18 years old. Now, if you remember, Trevelyan was in a relationship with Lane. He actually helped Bunting and Wagner unalive Lane. And he's the next one. You noticing something? Every single one of them are connected in some way to them. So, Trevelyan was Lane's last affair. He had, poor guy, he had a lot of mental health issues. He was, he was diagnosed as a schizophrenic. Uh, he he would have hallucinations if he did not take his medicine, and he believed, um, he truly believed that he was a soldier. He was 18 years old, which, yeah, you can be a soldier as soon as you turn 18 and yada yada yada. But he was not a soldier. But he truly believed that was he was a soldier. He wore army gear. He wore uh, military uniforms that he could find in thrift stores. He acted like he was a soldier, always wearing army fatigues. Uh, and he truly thought that the Grim Reaper was going to unalive him. So poor kid had a lot going on. A lot going on. Well, after he had helped Bunting and Wagner unalive uh, Lane, he moved in with Wagner. And Wagner's new girlfriend did not like Trevelyan. She was like, nope, he's got to go. I can't do this. So, what happened? Wagner's girlfriend does not like him, so something's got to give. So, again, unsure of the accuracy of this. if like this actually truly did happen or if this is something that they just said to justify what they did in their heads. Oh. So on November 4th, 1997, Wagner's girlfriend's son was outside playing with a puppy when Trevelyan ran up to him, chased the puppy in an attempt to unalive the puppy. Luckily, Trevelyan was stopped before he could do anything. So, somebody saw the little boy outside in the front yard playing with a puppy. And then they saw Trevelyan run up to him and chase the puppy around and stopped him from unaliving the puppy. So Bunting is like, oh, no, no, he, he's starting to F up a lot. And he's going more mental. His words. His words. Make that clear, that's his words. But with all this going on, Bunting was like, oh, now he's a risk. He's a risk just like Lane was. So what did they do? They took Trevelyan to Hurst Brook, in the Adelaide Hills. They forced him to stand on a box under a tree while you 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 can just use your imagination. Uh, he would be found on the tree the next morning. Uh, yeah. So they just they declared it was of his own doing because he had some attempts in his past, and they just didn't look into it anymore. So, yeah, yeah, we're gonna end that story there for now but I wanted to talk for a minute before we go. I had mentioned at the beginning that on September 21st I am launching a shop or two platforms maybe I'm thinking. So, gonna do that. I'm also wanting I really liked doing the vlog and I think that those can be so fun and do like I don't know some challenges of some kind like of um how many voodoo dolls can I make in a set amount of time, that kind of thing. Um, so what I'm thinking about starting here soon would be to have the crocheted caution tape, the crocheted caution tapes, um, original form, true crime, dark history, mysteries, all things spooky. 1 week. The next week be a vlog type, and then the following week, crochet caution tape. Like release a video every week, just alternating what type. and the vlog one would be less edited and more hanging out. All right. So I am so excited. I got a lot coming up, a lot of, oh, went out of focus. I'm so excited. We have a lot coming up, a lot going on, and I'm so excited to share that with you. And I hope to hear from you soon. If you all have any suggestions, please let me know. I would love to hear them. Any puppy, puppy. Any ideas on what I should make for my shop? I've already obviously going to be doing the voodoo dolls. I am also gonna have the chickens. Voodoo doll chickens. Bandanas. I'm gonna have some bandanas, different types of those, and I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be opening right before Halloween, so true crochet caution tape fashion, we gotta go spooky. So, any ideas? Please let me know. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you next time. Don't forget, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.